Je suis là pour commencer une séquence avec deux startups qu'on a la chance de recevoir. Donc, tout d'abord, Dmitry SHEVELENKO de Perplexity AI. On va en parler très prochainement. Et juste après, j'enchaînerai avec Laurent Daudet de Lighton. Et c'est intéressant parce qu'on va avoir une boîte américaine qui va à fond la caisse, qui lève des millions et qui a des objectifs très grands. Et Lighton, qui est une boîte qui a une vision très européenne, souveraine, avec des objectifs de rentabilité à assez court terme. Du coup, ça va être un contraste assez intéressant. And now I'm going to switch in English because Dmitry, our guest, is English. Not English, sorry, American. Just to quickly introduce Perplexity, you guys were started in 2022. You are doing an answering machine, we'll come back on that, and you're going after Google, which is a big challenge. Would you mind introducing yourself real quick?
Great to be here. It's an honor. My first time in Marseille. And all I can say is I will definitely be back. It's a beautiful city, and yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Perplexity is, I like how you said it's an answer machine. It's an AI answer engine. I'm the chief business officer, so I oversee all external-facing functions, and it's been an incredible journey. Perplexity was founded with this insight that with where large language models got, you now have the ability in natural language to answer any question. But large language models, as we all know, they can hallucinate. And so the unique insight behind Perplexity was you combine the real-time information from the internet, that's your store of knowledge, with the summarization and synthesis power of large language models, and that lets you create the answer machine.
Yeah, so instead, when you do request, you do question to the web, instead of having links, you have a definitive answer, and you have some links too, right, if I'm right? Why do you think this new mode of searching online is going to take over the classic search engine? What do you think is the biggest advantage of this?
So there are two things you can't buy with money. One is love, and the other is time. And I can't help anybody here with love, but what Perplexity does is it saves people time. So, you know, a simple model, a way to think about it is all these computers in the cloud, they're able to read the internet for you. And they're able to identify all of the possible information and focus in on the relevant facts and information that's useful to answering your question. So it's not that Perplexity is able to do something that you couldn't do on your own. It's just able to do it much faster, right? So what previously would have been 10 hours of reading and researching and comparing and analyzing just happens instantly. And what we see is, and this is very like natural human behavior, when it's easier to do something, we do more of it. And Perplexity makes it easier to get knowledge. And so this is why it's a very exciting company to work for, is we're accelerating the rate at which human curiosity grows human knowledge. And that flywheel is very powerful.
Where would you say we are on the road, on the answering machine road? Because as you say, we have hallucination problems. Are those over? What are you expecting also from the LLMs that are fueling your engine? Because if I'm right now, we can use any LLM we want on Perplexity and have the answer from Anthropic or Claude 3.5 or Chat or GPT-4. We can choose what's the engine of our research, but then you do kind of do the safeguards around it, right?
Yeah.
So where are we? Is it like already, you'd say we're at the end of the road of the answering machine, or you expect more from those models?
Yeah, we're just getting started. So it's important to kind of think about the process of answering a question. There's like 6 steps in there. So when you first ask a question on Perplexity, we first actually reformulate your question in 20, 30 different ways. We try to understand what your intention was, and we have our own model that tries to guess what you're actually looking for. And then we have our own web index, and so we run all those guesses against the web index to identify the most high-quality sources. We then rank those sources. We then retrieve, using RAG technology, retrieval augmented generation, the relevant facts and snippets to your question. And only then do we pass that through into the LLM, which then synthesizes the information to an answer, and then we render that. And all that has to happen in under 1 second. And so the way we minimize hallucinations is, again, we don't rely on the large language model as the store of knowledge. We have this entire process of identifying the facts from the internet and public sources, and we just use the large language model to synthesize those facts. And that's what creates it. Now, in terms of where we are and where we're going, you could almost think of it as 3 phases. The first phase, which is going from links to answers. So the first 25 years of the internet, you asked a question, you got back links. And what's revolutionary about Perplexity is now you get a useful, reliable answer rooted in sources. But if you think about all the ways we can, again, save you time, the next step there is not just giving you an answer, but letting you take an action, right? So say you're researching products. You want to buy a toy for your kids, and you want to buy the best one. And so you ask about it in Perplexity. It would be amazing if in the answer, if a product is mentioned, you could just buy it right from the answer and not have to go and fill out a bunch of forms and go through a lot of friction. And so this kind of taking actions and making that more seamless, I was going to think of that as phase 2. And then phase 3 is what people call agents. And I think of this as really proactive AI, where we know what you're going to want before you know it. And you don't even need to ask the question. You don't even need to do the research, because we know enough about you to preempt that and take it on your behalf. And that's still a ways out, but I think that would be kind of the 3 phases to think about. We're in the answer phase now. We're quickly going to move into the action phase. And then the agentic phase that's more proactive is where we go from there.
So to fuel that plan, you need to make money, right? I know, so you were created not a long time ago. We know that the search engine market is very, it's established. We know there's like ads, there's sponsored links. What are your way to monetize this answering machine?
Yeah, so we currently have 3 different revenue streams for Perplexity. Our biggest is consumer subscriptions. So we have Perplexity Pro, which is not just for professionals, it's for everyone, but it's the best version of Perplexity. It has our Pro Search, which is a deeper search technology. It lets you pick which LLM does the synthesis step. Is this really powerful voice-to-voice feature where you can just ask questions with your voice and get a natural language voice answer back. And so this has grown really quickly. We don't try to market Pro, but people just love the free version of Perplexity. They naturally will upgrade there. So we have that. We also have Enterprise Pro, which is for companies to give their employees productivity superpowers, right? People don't appreciate how much Google Search is actually an enterprise technology product, yet you don't pay for it. You pay for it with your data and your attention. But all of us in this room, we use Google Search multiple times a day, not just for our life, but to do our job. And Google monetizes not, again, through subscriptions, but through ads, so you're effectively your attention. So we have an Enterprise Pro offering, which already over 3,000 companies are paying for Perplexity for their employees, and we just launched that in May. And we also make our model, which is kind of, again, this real-time internet connected to an LLM, available as an API. And there's tens of thousands of developers using our API. And then just this week, we actually started running advertising inside of Perplexity. That's a very different advertising model compared to Google. Again, we're not in the business of getting people to click on links, which is how Google monetizes AdWords. We're in the business of getting people to ask more questions. And so naturally, our first ad product is called Sponsored Questions. It lets brands insert the question they want you to ask in the related questions that appear below an answer. And then you get Perplexity's organic answer to that question. So we launched some great US brands, Whole Foods, Indeed, Intuit, and so much more to come there.
Are you expecting to be more of a SaaS business later, or more of a no, I mean, SaaS as in a subscription, most of your revenue coming from subscription, or more of an advertising business?
I think it really will be hybrid. I think one of the lessons from Google and Facebook is that their reliance on advertising as their sole source of revenue has eroded the quality of their products, right? The reason there was an opening for us in search is people just got really tired of seeing so many sponsored results in Google. And so by starting with subscriptions, it gives us flexibility to not have to run bad advertising. And so advertising will be a major part of our business, but you know, we don't need it to be as big as Google's advertising business is.
So you're creating a disrupting product, definitely. I know it comes with some challenges. The regulation is not clear in the US yet. We don't know if there's going to be some, not some. In Europe, there's already legislation. And you also already had kind of a tense moment with the media, us, as like when it comes to links. And the approach you had is that people kind of like said, hey, Perplexity is using our links and not giving value. And then reactively, you offered a program. Can you tell us a bit how you dealt with this problem? Yeah.
So actually, it wasn't reactive. We were already working on a revenue share program with publishers before publishers started criticizing us. But the timing wasn't perfect on the sequence. You know, listen, we understand why publishers and media are skeptical of new technology paradigms, because the last 30 years have been bad for the media and news business. You know, technology has disrupted them, but not, it's disrupted the revenue more than, you know, positive externalities. And so there's a lot of cynicism, and we get it. Our approach is about aligning incentives over the long term. And that's why we think revenue sharing is the right way to do that. If we're monetizing a page view and publishers contributed facts to help us generate that answer, we should share in that upside. And that's the core of how we're approaching this. And these are long-term agreements. And I think, again, this old Google paradigm of like, you know, we aggregate your information and send you traffic. I think the agentic internet, it's not going to be about the exchange of links. It's going to be, again, actions. And so something like revenue sharing feels like a more sustainable future for how technology platforms interact with content creators.
And how do you see because you were kind of pioneers on the answering machine, but now the search GPT, ChatGPT included, the kind of same functionality, and also Google is adapting and trying to catch up on you guys. How do you see this competition? Because we know the search market ended up being one giant actor and a bunch of small actors. How do you see your sector evolving?
Yeah, so in Google's history, it hasn't been challenged because up until very recently, there wasn't a new fundamental capability that could lead to a better experience than just seeing links. You know, Bing, you know, whenever they objectively tested it, their search quality was actually better, but it wasn't viscerally different enough that people would change behavior. And so we have this moment where people are willing to change behavior, and that's special. And that's because an answer is fundamentally more useful than a link, especially when the answer is rooted in high-quality sources. Obviously, when you come across a really good idea and insight, you should expect people to copy you, and competition only makes you better. I like to say we swim in a sea of trillion-dollar sharks. You know, our competitors are either trillion-dollar companies or bankrolled by trillion-dollar companies. And our only advantage, and I think this is actually true for any startup, is speed and focus. So the reason we have a right to win is we improve our product 1% better every day. And over the course of a year, that means our product got 30 times better. We are focused on just one thing, which is answering your questions and solving your problems. And out of that focus, we create a right to win, because bigger companies, they try to do many things. When you do many things, you can't do the one thing as well.
All right, we're already running out of time, unfortunately. Would you like to say one last word?
Yeah, so the most powerful way to understand AI is to actually try it. And I'm excited to share that everyone attending here in person will be sent a code for 6 months free of Perplexity Pro. It's normally 120 euros, and I'm really excited to give you guys the gift of more time back, and hope you enjoy the product and send me your feedback.
Thank you so much, Dmitry.
Great, thank you.